Welcome to this week's Monday Morning Mindstep. I'm Robin Jackson, and I want to show you a step that you can take this week to turn your school into a success story with the people and resources you already have. One of the challenges I see a lot of schools facing has to do with any time you are trying to launch a new initiative. Typically, new initiative launches look like this, and I'm going to show you something that I learned from Simon Sinek called the theory of diffusion of innovation, and it kind of looks like this. So let's say we have a bell curve. Typically what happens with any new innovation is there's a small group of people, about 2.5% of the people, and these are your innovators. These are the people who, the moment you launch it, they've already been thinking about it. They're like, great, we'll try it. It's something exciting. It's something new. And they will actually take your new idea and they will start innovating with it and creating something even better than what you imagine. The next group of people who typically come along, and it's about 13.5% of your staff or your population, these are what we call the early adopters. These are the people who, they're not going to innovate, but the moment you introduce it, these are the first people in line to try the idea. Simon Sinek talks about these are the people who have the latest iPhone. They're usually the first people to catch on to an idea. Then you have what's called the early majority. So these are not the people who are going to be the first people to, catch on to an idea, but they're going to join. As soon as these people join, these are your next people who join, and it's about 34% of your population. Then we have something that they call the late majority, and that's about another 34% of your population. And then this last 16%, I call these the laggards. I'm sure there's a kinder word in the actual theory, but that's what I call them. These are the laggards. So what does this have to do with your innovation? Well, typically what we do is whenever we're trying to launch a new innovation, we tend to focus on this group of people right here. Right? We say, oh, what about those people? If I do this, I have these teachers who are going to be resisting it, or I have these teachers who are going to fight me every step of the way. And so what we try to do is we try to mitigate that risk. So we start trying to brainstorm all the ways people are going to resist us, and then how do we, cut that off at the pass? And we spend so much time worrying about these people, when in reality, there's nothing you can do to change it. These are always going to be your late majority and your laggards. And if you accept that about your process, then you're not stressed out when it happens. You're not devoting a whole bunch of time and energy on these people at the very beginning because it's a waste of time. You will always have a group of people who are going to be your late majority and your laggards. Now, here's what builders do. Builders don't worry about those people. They know they're going to exist. So instead of spending time and energy worrying about these people, what builders do is they worry about these people. They spend all of their time and energy investing in their innovators and their early adopters because these people are critical to making it work. If these people are not on board, you'll never get your early majority. If you never get your early majority, you won't get your late majority and you won't get your laggards. So what builders do is when they are launching an innovation, they figure out, what do I need to do to catch the attention of these people? Now, if you notice, this is 16%, just like this is 16%. So instead of focusing on the bottom 16% of your school population, those 1 or 2 or 3 teachers who resist you all the time anyway, who are never on board, who always have any stuff negative to say, why don't you focus on the best 16% of your staff? These are the people who are going to help you make this work. So I'm not going to mitigate against what these people are going to say. I'm going to give that idea to these people first. Before I even announce it to everybody else, I'm going to let them play with it. I'm going to let them innovate. I'm going to let my innovators innovate. I'm going to let my early adopters test it out and work out the kinks. And then once they've played with it, once these people are on board, I'm going to deputize these people to help me with my early majority. And then now I have half of my population on board. They can work with me to work on my late majority. And then when I've got 2/3 of my population on board, actually more than 2/3, the majority of my population on board, they will work with me on the laggards. And either the laggards will get on board Or they will go somewhere else where they're not around a whole bunch of weirdos because most of the school is doing this. The laggards have less power when you have a majority. So what you want to do is there's a time to deal with laggards, and it's towards the end of the process, not at the beginning. Because if you focus on these people at the beginning of the process, you give them too much power. What you want to do is invest in your innovators and your early adopters first. Once you do that, they actually help create a better innovation. They actually help create a better initiative. And then bring these people on board. And once you do that, the laggards have a lot less power because now you have over half of your staff working, making it work. The people who say that won't work, they can't say that because it's already working. The people who say, oh, our kids can't do that, can't say that because it's already happening. The kids are already doing it. So you reduce their power when you invest at the top end of the scale rather than worrying about the bottom end of the scale. So your mind step is simply this. This week, think about something you're trying to get done in your school. Think about all the things that you typically worry about and put that on the shelf. Instead, figure out who are your innovators, who are your early adopters. Pour into them, get them on board, and then deputize them to help you get everybody else on board. And the more you do that, the more you will actually see your programs, your initiatives, your dreams come to life, and you'll be doing it like a builder. And if you want our help kind of planning out your entire process so that you have a systematic way to deal with every single group on this chart, then I invite you to come to Builders Lab. Builders Lab, we sit down, we show you how to deal with your innovators, we show you what you need to do with your early adopters, your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards, and we help you develop a plan that brings everybody on board. So to learn more about Builders Lab and to get your ticket for Builders Lab, go to mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab. That's mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab.